It's the wonderful Paul Orndorff. You know that Orndorff was something serious. He was mean as hell, boy. Didn't take any shit.
You know, nowadays, if you talk to a wrestler, if they do an interview with him, the first thing that come up is, "What's your gimmick?" Or "You're this gimmick." Well, you know, that's what was so unique and different about me. First of all, I didn't have a gimmick. The gimmick I had was me. That is truly me, the way I acted, the intensity, to be ferocious, to be aggressive. When a guy's down, I'd kick him. I'd kick him harder. I had a bodybuilder's body, 20 and a half inch arms, body fat of 5% or less.
He was ripped.
And I used this and I incorporated that, which made me so much different than anybody else. And that's why I hold so many records today. The largest attendance that ever watched an outdoor wrestling match was myself and Hulk Hogan. 78,000 people, still stands today. I owe a lot to Eddie Graham for giving me that opportunity, and also for Hiro Masuda, who trained me for 8 months, 5 days a week. And
Well, that man said he used to stretch people. I heard about him.
What? And it was the toughest thing that I've ever
Get
done.
that back.
I mean, I've been to Masuda, who trained me for 8 months.
They said that man there. Because I don't know, I think that's the person that trained Hogan. But yeah, they said that man would stretch you and have you hollering, and you had to sit there and dealt with it. Make you think about Brett's daddy in the dungeon in the basement, talking about have some discipline, and then I never forget the guys whimpering like little dogs. That was no joke. I had enough, sir. Woo, 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 woo. They were whimpering like little dogs. I never forget that. And then I don't know if it was Bruce or Keith, Brett's brother, said okay, he would ease up a little bit. The next thing you know, you would hear ah. The next thing you know, you go back to hollering. He'd ease up for a couple of seconds and start on him again.
I owe a lot to Eddie Graham for giving me that opportunity, and also for Hiro Masuda, who trained me for 8 months, 5 days a week, and put me through you know what.
Yeah.
And it was the toughest thing that I've ever done. I mean, I've been to 4 days in the NFL camps, same thing in college, high school. It didn't come close to what they put me through. They tested me. They tested my will. They wanted to see if I was tough enough. They knew I was an athlete, but they didn't know if I had what it took to be a professional wrestler. To wrestle in front of the largest crowd ever in professional wrestling outdoors in Toronto, Canada, was one of the big thrills. But I think most of all might have been the first time I went to Madison Square Garden, sold it out. First WrestleMania, probably the best WrestleMania that there ever will be. It's just the hype and the electricity everywhere in the United States that we used to go for that first WrestleMania. It was amazing. You would have thought that it was a heavyweight fight. One time an old fella told me, he said, you know, if you don't say who you are and if you can't show them who you are in the ring, then you'll never really amount to nothing. And that's how I took that. So every night when I went out there, I made it a point to outshine anybody in the ring. I made all the attention on me. I didn't even care about anybody else. It was all about me, because I knew down the road it was money in the bank. And that's what I did. A lot of my moves and everything that I did was totally different than the way it used to be. And that's why I think I helped change what wrestling is today. And of course, it needs another change, and that's to be back the way I was in the 80s. If you're going to get in this business, you need to bring something to the table. You know, if you're 5'9" and you're 5'6", or you're 6 foot and you got a 38-inch waist and you're fat, you don't work out. Come on, man, get real with yourself. You think people are going to come and pay to watch you wrestle?
Well, that's the only thing you disagree with, because Bam Bam was a big dude. He could move. Earthquake could move. Who else? Yokozuna and Vader. They could move. Yeah. I'll never forget. Okay, Earthquake. Was he like 6'3", 6'4", throwing drop kicks? That was something. I remember that. Bam Bam cartwheeling across the ring. That's right. Bam Bam was 330, rolling around cartwheeling. That was something. Yokozuna throwing super kicks upside your head. Oh, but they can move now. So I know some of them probably couldn't, but those guys were something serious.
You got to be something special. You know, you got to be a giant. You got to have 20-inch arms. You got to be a freak. Was there anybody that was equal to me as far as talent, being aggressive, being vicious?
Orndorff was intense.
It would have to be a person that possibly played college football, or even pro football, that had that intensity, that had that will to win. Maybe somebody that might have been an Army Ranger or in the Navy SEALs. It would have to be somebody of that caliber to even tickle my feathers. You know, everybody else was. It was just another walk in the park. But I liked a good tough match, and I only had a couple of them in my 25 years of wrestling, and both of them were against myself. The first time that I wrestled Hulk Hogan, I believe it was in Poughkeepsie, New York, at a TV. And we were partners at the time, but he got the big head, you know.
Yeah, you turned on him. I remember that was dirty.
When I
turned on him.
Left messages, and finally when we got to the ring, and one thing led to another, they ended up carrying him out in a stretcher after I power drove him.
Yeah, you turned. I remember
that. From that time on, and that was, you know, I like that, because I like hurting people to start with. And,
he is mean.
And just to teach him a lesson.
That is mean as hell. I like hurting people anyway. Oh, they said I like hurting people to start with. How about that? I'll kick you in the head, or kick you, and I'll kick you even harder than that. Let me get that back. He's something else.
I drove it, and I would say from that time on, and that was, you know, I like that, because I like hurting people to start with, and doing that for him, and just to teach him a lesson. You know, a lesson that his mom and daddy should have done a long time ago, and I had to do it. So in other words, you want me just to go off again?
There he is.
Well, let me tell you something, Hogan. If I tell you a mosquito can pull a plow, hook him up. If there's two things that I can't stand, is a dog chasing cars and a broken down wrestler chasing me. Hogan, you got a little of both in you. I'm going to break you and I'm going to spank you like your mama should have done a long time ago. My accomplishments, I think, probably the thing that does mean the most to me is the respect that I have, the respect amongst the other wrestlers, and whether they like me or not, the respect of the promoters that I've been with.
Broken down
the bottom line is that, you know, I helped make careers. I mean, I made Hulk Hogan what he is today, and everybody else that ever stepped in the ring with me. I was a very, very emotional, aggressive, vicious, all these things wrapped up in one. And back in the late 70s, in the early 80s, they didn't have anybody like that. I had the body for it. I had the right mind for it. I had the intensity. I had a lot of things that I've watched on TV that a lot didn't have. I was a rebel type guy. I mean, I don't mind telling you. I spoke up for myself. I thought, you know, I have that right to do that, and I did. So I didn't play politics very good. My whole thing was that
he wasn't into the, yeah, that would have been interesting. Okay, Orndorff from say 88 versus Stone Cold. You could already hear the shit talking. Or I said even before, Stone Cold versus Piper. They would have beat the shit out of each other. that would have been something serious.
My ability, and I would outdo anybody that we had. And that's what I did, and that's how I kept my job. I got to the point that they couldn't get rid of me, no matter what. First WrestleMania was probably the greatest thing, you know, to see Muhammad Ali and him sucker punch me when I wasn't, you know, even looking at him. You know, what kind of guy would do that but Muhammad Ali? You know, Cyndi Lauper and Hogan and Mr. T and all these people. You know, the people all came there for one reason, that was to see Mr. Wonderful. That's the bottom line. It's the same way in Toronto, where I drew 78,000 people came to watch Mr. Wonderful. For the same reason that you're going to buy this video game. You come to buy it.
Orndorff putting himself over.
So simple. Life on the road.
He is putting himself over.
300 plus days a year. A lot lot of ribs we played on each other. It was fun.
I still got the game somewhere.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, there would be 4 of us sitting in the car. You know, we'd all split the gas. Some nights we wouldn't even get paid, you know, making $15 a night. I didn't have a silver spoon.
Ooh,
you know, I wasn't born with that. I mean, everything I had to earn. I had to fight for. To get in all the politics and all the gaga and the goo-goo, that wasn't really for me. And we had fun, sure. I mean, I've had my bags all locked up with padlocks and stuff, and I had 20 locks on a bag, and then they're taking and nail your boots to the ceiling, and
the ribs will make you angry, and then you can't get mad about it. That's what I heard about this rib business. They say if you get mad about it, it's going to get even worse, so let it slide. And I was like, I don't know about where the hell you get 20 locks from. That's crazy. Like I said, okay, throwing ice water across his head walking through the room, that's one thing, but tearing up a person's stuff, come on now. And how the hell do you nail boots to the ceiling? How about that? Where the hell do you get 20 padlocks from? That's crazy business.
Water in your underwear, you know, after the shower, and then underneath your shirt, all sprinkled all over the place. You know, we used to do all kind of little things, but in the beginning it was a lot of fun. But towards the end of my career, it's work, being away from your family, away from your kids, just not being able to go to church and not being able to do the right things you need to do in life. If you play a contact sport, you're going to have injuries. And if you don't have injuries, then you must be sitting on the bench. That's the way I look at it. And I never was a bench warmer, and nor was I ever a water boy. I was out there with my head. I was sticking my head in there. The same way I wrestled so aggressively and so intensely that I put my body, I mean, I was doing something every second. Every body part, something was happening. And I was reckless and in abandon. And, I've broken toes and fingers. I've been split open, both eyes. I had a number of stitches in both eyes. But the most severe thing that I've had, and I've had knee surgery, was my neck. I've broken my neck 3 different times. If you look at the real good ones, they're all been hurt. I mean, look at the guys that had these neck injuries.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up the arm, because I didn't notice that until the 90s. I was like, what the hell happened to his arm? I guess he said, I heard he got injured and never got him fixed. He just kept on working. Then they said Kurt Angle's got the same thing in his arm. I was like, oh, good, because you had one arm that was built, and then the little small arm. I was like, what the hell happened to it? Yeah. They said he kept working with the bad arm. I guess he just that's rough and tough. He just said to hell with it. It kept going.
Because a lot of the moves are so dangerous, and they're out of control moves, and if you keep doing it, you're going to get hurt. If you live by the gun, you die by the gun. I'm paying for my rough and tough days, as being a wrestler, and these are things that you need to look at in a lot of these young kids out there that, have this embedded in their mind that they want to do this. And even football, because you'll pay down the road. And quite frankly, my advice to you would be is don't. Man, use it up here. Man, use your brains, because using your body, you could use your brain forever. Your body, you can. And I thought I was invincible. And when I got hurt, it was career ending. It ended my career. Period.
I remember the hell is that? Oh, sloth. WCW. I don't know how he hurt his neck that last time or whatever, but I do remember that. Now that it's coming back. They said do not move him, because if you move him, you're gonna make it worse. I remember when Bagwell broke his neck. I just looked at that. I felt bad. I remember that was awful. That man couldn't move. And I think like after about, 25, 30 minutes, they said, sit up, or something like that. What do you mean? He's like, sit on up. They said, luckily it was just like a swelling of the neck or something, but, that was bad. Because he fell off and, his neck, that looked that bad. Getting back to Orndorff, he put himself over perfectly. He's like, they came out there, that 78,000 attendance, to see Orndorff. Not to see you, to see Orndorff. And then Okay, at WrestleMania. Yeah, we had Hogan and Piper and Mr. T and Rockettes or whatever else, but they came from Mr. Wonderful. The see on. Oh, he was something else. But yeah, that other part of the interview where he started getting real serious, talking about I can't stand what do you say? I can't stand broken down cars like a broken down wrestler or something like that. Whatever the hell you said, a broken down wrestler. It is something because now whatchamacallit is old. That's it. But yeah, that's what happened with the wrestling. Got beat so bad the man can hardly walk. That's not even funny. Same thing with what you call those guys with the fatigues, the bushwhacks. Can't man walking with the crutches now. Can't hardly walk. It is no damn joke.